Welcome to Bank Chats 2 Cents. This is a shorter version of Bank Chats where Drew and I find interesting things in the news that are financial related, and we just kind of talk about them. On today's episode, I found a financial literacy test, and we're kind of just going to go through it.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Another quiz that I can fail. Excellent.
Well, no, you've been in the banking biz for a lot longer, so you'll do good.
I'd like to hope so. The Gen Z thing really did not go well for me.
Oh, you did fine.
I'm definitely not Gen Z though either. So what do you got?
Okay, we'll start out with high yield savings accounts tend to offer significantly higher interest rates than traditional savings accounts. How much higher are those rates typically? And I'll give you some.
Yeah, I'm gonna need multiple choice.
Yeah. So A, 2 times as high, B, 5 times as high, C, 10 times as high, or D, 20 times as high.
Okay, so they always say if you're not sure to pick C, so I'm gonna pick C, 10 times as high.
Not quite. Double that, and you're good.
Not quite.
Not
Double.
quite. 20 times as high.
Not that at all.
I guess. Yeah. Yeah. Try to make you feel better.
Thanks.
So as of June 2019, the average annual percentage yield, or APY, for traditional savings accounts at larger banks was 0.1%. Many high-yield savings accounts, however, were offering APYs that exceeded 2% or 20 times as high.
Wow. Yeah, well, I can kind of see that because I have a savings account at a credit union that I keep open. I've had it since I was a kid, and I just kind of keep it open just so that it doesn't close. I don't know why I care, but I guess it's because it's one of my longer term accounts or whatever.
Sure.
But it's like that. It has like a 0.1% interest rate. And considering that I have, I think, something like $100 in it, I get paid like 2 cents a year on interest or something.
Yeah.
So I guess it is, if you're trying to put money into a vehicle like that, you probably want to make sure that you're getting something significant back if you can.
Oh, sure. And maybe even try looking at a different account at your financial institution. Maybe a CD works better than a savings account.
True. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a CD, I think we've talked about this a number of times, but obviously the longer you're willing to put your money away and have it set there where you can't really touch it, generally speaking, the higher the interest rate's going to be. Now, that's not always exactly, it's not like a 1-to-1 ratio where if I put something in a 5-year CD and then I put it into a 10-year CD, the 10-year CD pays double. That's not really the case.
Yeah, but that would be nice. Yeah.
That would be great. Yeah. So check with your financial institution, but as a rule of thumb, the longer you put it away, the better your interest rate is probably going to be.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, how about this one? Your bank just notified you that your 12-month CD is maturing. What factors are important to consider before deciding to let it automatically renew?
Whether it should have a driver's license or not, because you got to make sure that it's mature enough to be able to do that on its own.
It's only a 12-month. It's only a 12-month. There is a good chance you might need the funds in a shorter time frame. B, interest rates have gone up since you opened the CD. C, you want to do a comparison check of competitive offerings, looking for better rates, lower fees, or lower minimum deposits. Or D, all of the above.
Oh, D, all of the above. That's easy.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. I don't know that you really have to elaborate on that. Just all of those things is what you should do.
Yep.
There's probably a little 10-second rewind button on your phone if you want to go back and listen to what the answers are. All right, what do we got next?
Which saving strategy will get you to $1 million in the bank by age 65, assuming 8% annual returns? A, save $200 a month starting at age 20. B, save $400 a month starting at age 30. C, save $800 a month starting at age 40. Or D, save $1,500 a month starting at the age of 50.
So I'm going to go with A because I kind of understand the whole compounding interest idea.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's actually in the explanation. That's the first sentence. Behold the magic of compounding. A 20-year-old who saves $200 a month until retirement would have $1,055,000 at the age of 65. That's not bad for less than a monthly cost of several takeout meals. If you wait until the age of 30 and kick in $400 a month, that number drops to about $918,000. A 50-year-old contributing $1,500 a month would accumulate only $519,000 by retirement.
Wow.
Yeah.
So basically half.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we've brought this up on the show before and you're tired of hearing it, but I always bring up the whole example of the penny a day and doubling it.
That's good. Example,
in terms of compounding. And if those of you that are listening are not familiar with that, here's how it goes. If someone offers you a penny a day to do a chore, like say wash the dishes, I'll pay you a penny a day and I'll double it every day for 30 days.
Mhm.
Would you rather have whatever money you earn in that scenario, or would you rather have $1 million now?
Yeah.
And if you actually do the math, you'll find that you're literally 10 times better off to take the penny a day doubled for 30 days than you are to take the $1 million today.
Yeah.
Because you end up with over $10 million. But the thing of it is, though, and this applies to retirement accounts especially, because you kind of have a goal with retirement. You're probably trying to retire between the ages 62 and 67.
Mhm.
And so you kind of have an end date in mind. But, it's the last couple of years that make the difference. Because if you figure if on day 30 in that scenario,
Mhm.
you're getting $10 million, that means on day 29, you only had 5. And on day 28, you only had 2.5 million.
Yeah, true.
So in the last 2 or 3 days, you're going from like $2 million to $10 million, but you had to spend 27 days of lower returns to get there. So that's a very simplified way of looking at compounding interest. The longer you keep it in there, the more that interest compounds, and then but you have to stick it out. You can't take your money out at 58 and go buy Winnebago out of your retirement savings. That's a bad idea, because you're going to lose all that momentum that you built.
Yeah, you're going backwards.
From the time you were 30 or whatever it is that you started saving for retirement.
Yeah.
So don't do that.
Yeah. And start early. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. What do we got next?
Okay, so which statement about fixed versus variable interest loans is false? A, interest on fixed rate loans stays the same for the life of the loan. B, interest on variable rate loans can fluctuate, which could affect the payments you must make. C, interest rates on fixed rate loans are usually lower than starting rates on variable rate loans.
Okay. So let's go back. So let's go back through those. So the first one, what was the first option?
First one was interest on fixed rate loans stays the same for the life of the loan.
Okay. And we're asking which one of these is false.
Right.
So interest on fixed rate loans stays the same for the life of the loan. So that's true.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So what's the next option?
Interest on variable rate loans can fluctuate, which could affect the payments you must make.
Okay. That's also true.
Yep.
That could happen. All right. So that makes C the right answer, but what was
by default, yeah. Interest rates on fixed rate loans are usually lower than starting rates on variable rate loans.
Okay.
Are contributions to a traditional 401k plan deducted from your salary before or after taxes?
Oh, before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Didn't
Yeah.
need to give you the A or B before or after.
So let's talk the difference a little bit, since we're on this topic. Let's talk about like the difference between let's use IRAs to make things easy, because it's still a retirement vehicle and it's still the same basic idea. But
Right.
I think a lot of people are more familiar with IRAs. So there's a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA. So what's the difference?
So in a Roth, you would pay the taxes up front as opposed to when you take it out of your retirement account.
Right.
Right.
So I guess the thing that you want to talk to your financial advisor about, or the thing you want to think about yourself if you're making this decision on your own, and there's advantages and disadvantages to both solutions. So you have to decide for yourself what you think is best. But the line of thinking behind a Roth IRA when they first brought these ideas out,
Mhm.
right, was that taxes today are statistically more likely to be lower than taxes will be 30 years from now.
Sure.
Right. So theoretically, even though you're paying more now to pay the taxes now to put that money into your Roth IRA,
Mhm.
you should theoretically still be saving yourself money in the long run, because you won't be paying the higher tax rate that is likely to be in existence 30 years from now when you go to take that money out.
Yeah.
Right. You paid the taxes early. Now you get to take it out tax free.
Right.
On the other side, you can put more in. Say I'm putting in $100 and 30 of that is taxes right now.
Mhm.
I'm really only putting 70 into so I could put a whole $100 in today
Mhm.
and then worry about the taxes later.
Yeah.
And it's possible the taxes are lower later, but I've been alive for 45 years, and I don't think anybody that I could talk to, including my grandparents, will tell you that their taxes are lower now than they were 30 years ago.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah.
So there's that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Cool.
all right. You got anything else?
Definitely. Okay, how high must your FICO score be for you to qualify for the best interest rates?
Okay.
A, 600, B, 650, C, 700, D, 750, or E, 800?
Huh. It feels like 800's a little bit of a stretch. I'm gonna go with 750.
You are right, yeah.
Is it 750? I thought it would actually been 700 too, but I wasn't sure.
I mean, 700 is
But-
still a good score, yeah.
Yeah.
Credit scores in the mid 700s usually will allow you to qualify for better rates. 20% of adults have scores from 750 to 799.
So how many percent?
20% of adults have a score from 750 to 799.
That's not bad actually. That's probably higher than I honestly expected there to be. Maybe.
Well, it's only 20%. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's true. So 20% of people out there can get that 0% interest that they advertise with the car advertising around the holidays all the time. Right. And like 0% interest for qualified buyers. Yeah, right. 3% of you.
Right, right.
So
You're maxed out, yeah.
everybody else is paying 20%. Yeah. No, it's not going to be that high. But
No.
yeah, but
Not now, at least.
yeah, and I guess it's important to make the distinction that that is when you're dealing with the interest rate on the lending product. So it has no bearing on what you get on a deposit product. Like if you're putting money into a CD, your credit score has no bearing on what interest rate you get. No, it's only when you're dealing with lending products, which I think most people probably know. But just in case you don't, that makes it that makes a difference.
That's a good point, yeah. Yeah. Okay. How much do financial experts generally recommend that you keep in an emergency fund? 3 to 6 months of your gross pay, 3 to 6 months of your essential living expenses, or 3 to 6 months of your monthly household or rental costs.
Well, you got to keep a roof over your head, but you also have to eat. So I'm not going to go with C.
Okay.
It could be A. They might be recommending gross pay, but I'll say A.
No, B. 3 to 6 months of your essential living expenses, and for some that's the same as your monthly gross pay, but
Just all of it. When payday is exchange day, that's all of it. Those two answers are the same. Yeah, I just said A mostly because I think sometimes these experts have, I don't want to say unrealistic, but maybe some would say unrealistic expectations for what you should be able to put away in terms of savings. I mean, but 3 to 6 months of your essential living expenses, that seems reasonable.
yeah. So like if you lost your job or something like that,
Yeah.
you had 6 months of your basic living expenses covered.
So that's going to be things like your rent or your mortgage payment because you
Yeah.
got to keep a roof over your head. You got to be able to eat.
Yep.
Um,
Your utilities,
utility, keep
clothes,
the heat, anything, and the lights on and things like that. And then I would probably also, some people would argue with me on this, and I guess it depends on where you live. If you live in a larger metropolitan area and there's a lot of public transportation, you probably don't have to, maybe a car payment or something wouldn't be included in that essential living expenses. But if you live in the suburbs or you live in a rural area, you got to also maybe consider your car payment if you have one to be in there because you got to get to work.
Yeah. That's a good point.
You can't not have a way to travel to get groceries or to get to work.
Mhm.
So some of those things get a little gray.
Yeah.
When you start thinking about what's an essential living expense.
That's true, yeah.
So
So we've covered the 50-30-20 rule before, but we have not covered the rule of 72. What is the rule of 72? Is that a method for calculating how much money you'll save in 72 months, a guideline for budgeting and saving money, a rule for estimating how long it takes an investment to double, or a formula for calculating compound interest?
yeah, I know it's not the compound interest one, and I know it's not a rule for saving money because that is the 50-30-20 rule that you just kind of mentioned. There are multiple ideas on how you can save money, but so what are the other two options that the ones I didn't eliminate?
So a method for calculating how much money you'd have saved in 72 months, or a rule for estimating how long it takes an investment to double?
Yeah, I'm going to go with C.
Okay. Yep, you're right. So this is a really nifty little one.
Tell us about it.
So an example, if your account earns 7% interest per year, divide 72 by 7 to estimate the number of years it would take for your money to double. So in this case, it would take approximately 10 years to double your money.
That's kind of handy.
Yeah.
I think it's sort of the reverse of what you always get sort of sold whenever people say like, oh, come in and buy a mattress. It's only 84, get 84 months, no interest or something like that. And you're like, oh man, 84 months, no interest. I have no interest for like, what is that? 7 years or something like that. But what you're not thinking about when you hear that sales pitch is I'm going to be making payments for 7 years.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, they're no interest, but you're still going to be on a payment plan for a long time.
Right.
And so it takes longer to pay off that whatever it is than you might necessarily think when you're thinking, oh, 0% for however long.
Yeah.
So this is kind of the same thing. It's like your savings aren't necessarily going to double overnight.
Right.
And you have to be willing to be patient.
Yeah.
You know,
Sure.
and I guess maybe that goes back a little bit to what we talked about earlier about the compounding interest and things like that. Like you have to be patient with your money when you want it to grow on its own like that.
Mhm.
You know, let it work for itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I mean, you may have dozens of months of payments, and your monthly due is fairly low. But yeah, you don't. Most people don't think of, hey, I'm going to be doing this for 7 years. That's why when I buy a car, I hate taking a car loan out for like 6 years because I'm the guy that wants to own that thing.
oh yeah, totally.
Yeah,
get you.
yeah. If I could do it in a lot, shorter amount of time, I will.
Yeah, particularly cars, because cars depreciate so fast.
Yeah. By the time you have it paid off, it's worth half of what you get paid for it or less.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like a house or land or something. I mean, and I guess I could be wrong, but I can't imagine anybody 50 years from now going into an old barn and taking a tarp off and going, a 2008 Kia.
This is what my father drove.
Right. I mean, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Okay. What is the largest contributing factor to your credit score? Is it debt to income ratio, payment history, credit mix, or salary?
Okay, so it's definitely not your salary because your credit ratio it doesn't matter what you make. I mean, it makes you have to have a salary or some sort of income, and it doesn't really matter how large it is per se, as long as you're making your payments on time. So, payment history.
Ding, ding, ding. Yes, 35% of your credit score is determined by your payment history. So it's crucial to make those payments and don't miss them.
Yeah, that is a big deal. I mean, just pay your bills.
Yeah.
It's really comes down to. I mean, your grandfather told you, if you owe something, pay it off.
Yep.
But it's true. Just be a good doobie. Pay your bills.
Yep. What is the recommended amount that wealth management firms say you should have saved for retirement by the age of 30? Is it your salary, 2 times your salary, 3 times your salary, or 4 times your salary?
I probably have 4 times my salary whatever I was making when I was 20. Does that count? My $10,000 working at Ponderosa Steakhouse. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah. By what age?
By 30.
By 30.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it was 2 times your salary an option?
It was, yeah.
I'll go with that.
Okay. Yeah, that would be nice, but it's recommended you have your salary saved up for retirement by the age of 30.
Okay.
So in addition, experts recommend that you have 3 times your salary saved by 40, 6 times your salary saved by 50, and 8 times your salary saved by 60.
I'm in trouble. I know I made a joke about it, but that is something to actually consider, though, that your salary, hopefully, as you get older, is going to rise.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yep.
Right. So I guess but then hopefully you're also taking more of a percentage of that salary toward your retirement and savings. So yeah, I kind of get that. But maybe that question would have been better phrased. Not that you didn't write it, but I'm just saying that what percentage of your salary should you have saved?
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because your salary is going to vary.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
But I know that I got some work to do. There's no way I have that by the time I'm 50.
Well, you got to let that
in on 50.
You got to let that compounding interest happen,
Yeah. Yeah, I still got to put more in there though.
Oh, okay. Well, Drew, you did pretty good.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. I like the quizzes. These are fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we all learned a little something.
I definitely did.
Happy Thanksgiving, Jeff.
Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks, Drew.
This podcast focuses on having valuable conversations on various topics related to banking and financial health. The podcast is grounded in having open conversations with professionals and experts with the goal of helping to take some of the mystery out of financial and related topics, as learning about financial products and services can help you make more informed financial decisions. Please keep in mind that the information contained within this podcast and any resources available for download from our website or other resources relating to bank chats is not intended and should not be understood or interpreted to be financial advice. The host, guests, and production staff of Bank Chats expressly recommend that you seek advice from a trusted financial professional before making financial decisions. The host of Bank Chats is not an attorney, accountant, or financial advisor, and the program is simply intended as one source of information. The podcast is not a substitute for a financial professional who is aware of the facts and circumstances of your individual situation.
Thank you for listening. Please check out our full library of episodes, which can be found on the AmeriServ.com website. You can also download or stream the podcast from your favorite podcast app.